Hey everyone. So last week we talked about the different leaders that were starting to come to power after World War One, and kind of how they were going to play a role in the Second World War. So today we are going to be looking at some of the things that specifically Adolf Hitler did in the days leading up to the Second World War, that kind of caused the Second World War. So Adolf Hitler was the leader of Germany. Okay, and just a reminder, this is where Germany is at the moment. They did lose some land, after World War One, and then they also have this area here, which is East Prussia. Okay, so this is Germany at the moment, and so we're gonna start in the year 1938. Okay, 1938. Uh, Hitler's going to start to kind of test the waters a little bit. He's going to try to test some of the leaders of Europe to see, all right, if he began to become a little bit more aggressive, what would the leaders of Europe actually do? So his first move here was to essentially take over the country of Austria. All right, this country down here. Okay. He's going to go and he's going to unify Germany and Austria, and this is known as the Anschluss. And his argument here was that um, the people in Austria, they speak German, right? They have German culture. They should be part of Germany. So the leaders of uh, Europe kind of looked at this as, okay, we can kind of see the justification for this. We can kind of see the reason for Germany taking over Austria. Um, and if we let Hitler do this, maybe that will kind of satisfy his appetite for aggression, and that will kind of be the end of it. Uh, he shortly after that began to make demands of another country nearby called Czechoslovakia. All right, this country right here. All right, he began to demand an area known as the Sudetenland, right along the German and Czech border. And when he began to make these demands, the other leaders of Europe decided, okay, we need to have a meeting here. We got to make sure that this doesn't get out of hand. So in September of 1938, in September of 1938, all these European powers are going to meet in Munich for what was eventually known as the Munich Conference. And in the Munich Conference, they basically came to the agreement that they were going to give in to Hitler's demands in order to avoid war. And this is a policy known as appeasement. And we look at this today as, if this would have gone differently, maybe the Second World War is avoided or at least delayed. But a lot of people celebrated this decision afterwards. A guy named Neville Chamberlain was the prime minister of the United Kingdom at the time. He left the Munich conference essentially bragging that they were able to keep peace in our time. They were able to avoid war. But they basically told Czechoslovakia that, hey, if Germany does something, you guys are on your own. We're not going to come to your aid to help you out. So in October, so not too long after this meeting, if we go to October of 1938, Germany is going to take the Sudetenland. Sudetenland. All right, and this is just kind of the area right in here, right on the inside of this border between Czechoslovakia and Germany. Again, it was a similar argument that Hitler was trying to make, that there are German people here, they speak German, they should be part of Germany. But eventually, he decides that, you know what, I don't want just the Sudetenland, I want all of Czechoslovakia. So in March of 1939, only a few months after he gets the Sudetenland, all right, he invades Czechoslovakia. Oops. Okay, so Czechoslovakia is now under German control. And so the other powers of Europe here are starting to look at this as like, okay, he's now taken over Austria, he's now taken over Czechoslovakia. We really need to be keeping an eye on Hitler at this point. He began to turn his attention next to the country of Poland. Now, Poland's a little in a different situation than Czechoslovakia was, because Poland actually had an alliance with France and the United Kingdom. And France and the United Kingdom basically told them, or told Germany, that if Poland has to protect itself from invasion, we are going to help Poland. All right, and Germany's, they understand this. Okay, but very similar to World War I, Germany did not want to get into a two-front war, meaning they didn't want to have to fight, France, United Kingdom, and what was formerly known as Russia, that's now known as the USSR. They didn't want to fight all three of those countries and have to split their attention. So what they did on August 23rd of 1939, Germany and the USSR actually signed a pact, called the Molotov Ribbentrop Pact. Okay, and this was essentially an agreement to not attack each other. And in this agreement, there was actually a secret deal that people didn't quite know about, is that when Germany planned to invade Poland, the USSR was actually going to invade Poland as well. Right? They were going to invade from the east, Germany was going to invade from the west, and they were going to split the country. They're going to divide the country up between them. And so this would kind of keep the USSR at bay. They would keep them on their side. They're not necessarily allies. They're not going to help each other out all that much. They're just not going to attack each other. All right, so on September 1st, of 1939, Germany invades Poland. Invades Poland. And 2 days later, on September 3rd, the United Kingdom and France, they declare war on Germany, thus beginning the Second World War in Europe. Okay. Now, just to back up a little bit, because this Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact that we mentioned, this is a really important piece of the puzzle when it comes to World War II, because a lot of people were very surprised by this agreement, because Germany has a type of government known as fascism. All right, fascism. All right, this is the German government, Germany. All right, and I'm actually going to put in Italy at this time, all right, because Germany and Italy are going to fight on the same side of this war for most of the war, but they're both fascist. And one thing about fascism, all right, is that they very, very much dislike, almost to the point of hating, communism. All right, and this is what the USSR is. Okay, so the USSR is communist, Germany and Italy are fascists, and fascists do not like communists, and vice versa. Communists don't like fascists. So it was really surprising then that these two countries, Germany and the USSR, decided to create a pact of non-aggression. A lot of times we look at this as the Nazi-Soviet non-aggression pact. Its official name, again, being the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. Right? So a lot of people were very, confused about what was going on here. Okay, so we're going to be taking a little bit of a closer look at the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact with a few political cartoons and kind of what people viewed this as when it was actually going on. So your assignment today is going to be to do a little bit of an analysis of a few political cartoons dealing with the Nazi-Soviet non-aggression pact. All right, and I'll do this first one here as an example of some of the things to be looking for. A lot of times when it comes to political cartoons, these details are not on accident. A lot of these things are done on purpose. Okay, so looking at most of the details here is going to be very important. Okay, so there's going to be 3 questions for each cartoon, and there's the same 3 questions for all of them. Okay, the first one is describe how Hitler is shown in this cartoon, then describe how Stalin is shown in this cartoon, and what is the message of the cartoon. Okay, so Hitler is this guy here on the left who's got the kind of the smaller mustache just underneath his nose. Stalin is going to be portrayed as having a bigger mustache, so if you can't tell the 2 of them apart, it's the same thing with all 3 of these, or all 4 of these, I'm sorry. So it's also important to look at the words that are being used, the captions or the questions like this one, because that'll be part of the message. Okay, and I'm going to use my text box tool to answer each of these. I'm going to just type it up here in this space above the questions. So the first one asks, how is Hitler shown in this cartoon? So I'm going to say Hitler is depicted as the groom in a wedding. He looks happy, right? Looks like he's got a smile on his face. Okay. All right. There's not a whole lot more I can really describe about Hitler. Okay. So the second point is how is Stalin shown? So Stalin is depicted as the bride in a wedding. Okay. He also looks happy. He also looks happy about the relationship. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the third one. This is where most of our analysis is going to take place. But what is the message of this cartoon? All right, what do you think that it is that they're trying to say? Okay, and I'm going to base the fact on the roles that they're playing here, because I'm thinking back to the 1930s, really when this pact was agreed to. And if I think about the typical roles of men and women at this time, in most relationships, men were seen as the head of the household, the person who's in charge, person who makes the decisions. So that kind of is telling to me that maybe Hitler here is shown as the person who is kind of in control of this relationship. All right, so I'm going to say since Hitler is shown as the groom, it means that he is in charge of the relationship, and has more power. Okay. I'm also going to look at the words that are at the bottom where it says, "Wonder how long the honeymoon will last." Okay. So the honeymoon is typically viewed as a happy time in a new relationship. So by saying, "I wonder how long the honeymoon will last," it kind of indicates that the person drawing this cartoon doesn't think that the happiness will last forever, that it's going to end at some point. This seems to indicate that the happiness of this relationship will come to an end. All right. There weren't a whole lot of people in the world that believed that this relationship was going to last. Again, primarily because neither of these guys are really all that trustworthy. Neither of these guys really like the other one in the first place. They don't trust each other. So that's kind of the message that I was getting from that cartoon. Okay, so what you're going to do is the same process with cartoons 2, 3, and 4. All right, where you're going to describe how Hitler is shown, describe how Stalin is shown, and what you think the message of the cartoon is. Okay, just a little help with this cartoon number 2 here. The word Ja, that is German for yes. So that might help you a little bit. But other than that, this is going to be due Wednesday by midnight. Message me or email me if you have any questions.